Hey, it's John Hope Bryant. Welcome into 2020. This is the How You Come Up series. Here's a basic premise for 2020. John, how do you do it? How do successful people become successful? How do you remain successful? Here's a basic rule, right? And I'm not saying I'm successful, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I can't guarantee you that being positive is going to make you a success. I cannot. I cannot guarantee you that being a positive person is going to make you wealthy, rich, and famous. But what I can absolutely guarantee you is being negative will make you a failure. I can absolutely guarantee you that if you hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. I can absolutely guarantee you that if you put out negative energy, ultimately, poisonous energy, toxic energy, whatever goes around, comes around. The universe has a perfect accounting system. Whatever goes around, comes around. And if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. His plan is much better than yours, and he's made for love. God is made of love, and he made you for love. And even if you admire Lucifer, the devil, if that's your role model, understand this. Listen carefully now. He's a fallen angel, which means that God gave the devil, Lucifer, permission to exist. So this is deep now. Badness is nothing more than failed goodness. Darkness has no definition except for light. Hate comes from the definition of love. Goodness is the source and badness is the falling from that source. So if you're a negative person, you have no definition except through the lens of a positive person. Because God is all about love. Hope is a cousin, first cousin of love. My middle name is Hope. It's what I'm all about. Sometimes you just have to love people into a positive situation. As my pastor, Reverend Murray, once told me, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to that's important. And then I added, to argue with a fool proves there are two. It's not what people call you, it's what you answer to that's important. And never, ever, ever answer out of your name. And to argue with a fool, I said, proves there are two. When you got the power, you don't need to use it. Just kill people with kindness and love. If you hang around people who backbite, who say one thing to somebody and then say something else to somebody else, listen now, if you're hanging around somebody who's talking in your face, now you're their friend, and they're talking in somebody's face and saying X, smiling, and then when they leave, they say X, Y, Z negatively about that same person, what do you think they're saying about you when you're not around? Whatever goes around, comes around. Whatever you hang around, you will be. Get the toxicity out of your life. And if you happen to be toxic, you need to own it. There's only 3 ways to live, okay? And one of them is not perfection. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. A saint is a sinner that got up. But I never said I was perfect, okay? I'm perfectly imperfect. I'm perfectly God's child. I'm exactly who I need to be. In fact, the edge in me creates the hope in me, because a sane person, as the world defines sanity, right? Sane isn't safe, doesn't create something called Operation Hope. You got to be a little nuts by mankind standard to believe you can change the world. You got to be a little out of the box in the first place. So sane, as in safe, by mankind standards, doesn't define me. I'm not sane by mankind standard. But remember that Jesus would probably be kicked out of most churches today. And remember that they crucified him because he spoke too much truth. Remember, I'm not giving an analogy between me and Jesus, by the way. I'm saying whoever you admire, they were ahead of the curve. They were probably extraordinarily positive if they did something to change the world. And they were out of step with society a little bit because eagles don't fly in packs. You've never seen a flock of eagles. Mother Teresa, out of step, but right on track. Nelson Mandela, out of step, but right on track. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Coretta Scott King Jr., out of step, but right on track. Dr. Ambassador Andrew Young, out of step, but right on track. John Lewis, out of step, but right on track. You can just keep on and on and on. So I want you to be aligned with what's right. I want you to be aligned with what's good. I want you to be part of a growth strategy for your life. So I want you to understand that being positive is one of those attributes of truly successful people. But you've got to be authentically positive. You can't be positive in somebody's face and then negative about them or somebody else when you turn your back, because authenticity counts. And you don't think people can read your energy? I can. I know when people are being negative and lying me straight in my face, and I just let them go through the whole routine. And if they don't think I'm holding back 20%, 30%, 40% of my trust and confidence in them, then I don't know how they thought I got where I am today. So just because I'm doing something just because I'm doing or not doing something doesn't mean I don't know something more than what I'm doing. But I don't have a need to show my whole card to anybody except to him. This is your rule for you. You got to be rooted and planted. And if you're not authentic, if you're not a real person, again, whatever goes around comes around. The universe is a perfect accounting system. You go far enough in the North Pole, you end up south. I'm basically just saying you cannot play a game and get away with it. That's what I'm really saying to you. And that ultimately, if what you're putting out is negative energy in the world, and if you're not an authentic person, and you're putting out toxicity, and you're trying to undermine other people, and spending your time scheming and trying to hurt people, you don't think that's coming back to you? You can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want. I just call it math. Whatever goes around comes around. And yes, it takes some people a long time to get theirs, quote unquote. But remember, Hitler was around for a long time. He was on the scene for a long time, and it looked like to the observer. I mean, what did he do? 1925, jailed as a crackpot. 1939, saluted by a military force. 1945, finally, commit suicide, I guess, but committed suicide, whatever. But that's a long reign. So from give or take 1929 to 1945. That's 16 years, at least, maybe even almost close to 20 years of his rise. But ultimately, he fell. He's an asterisk on the history books. No one wants to be associated with that, because whatever goes around ultimately comes around. So don't worry about when God will square the circle. Okay, just know that's not your job. Your job is to be positive. Your job is to round the circle and start with love and end with love. And then when you bring it back together and you're ready to take your life back, go to Operation Hope. See one of my Hope Financial coaches. We're in 30 states now, 150 locations. Hope Inside and Hope Inside the Workplace. And take your life back. This year it's about financial wealth and health wealth. Go see my girl, The Art of Wellness by Shatra, my wife, Shatra Bryant. Go to the Urban League. I don't care where you go. Just go make sure you take your life back somewhere. Start here. Start this series. Follow at John Hope Bryant. If you're not following now, 1 million followers on social media, somewhere between 80 to 90 million video views, and growing. This movement of civil rights in the streets, civil rights in the suites. John Hope Bryant, I'm out. Love you much. Let's go take the world back, starting with our lives.